Hi, I'm Stephen Chernisky, Chief Science Officer here at Univera. Today we're going to be talking about KM. KM is a product that's been sold successfully for over 25 years, and that's a lot of really happy people buying this product. The question is, what are they benefiting from this? What is KM? KM is a tonic. It's a combination of fruits, foliage, roots, bark, actually, and all of that has a combination of what are called bitters. You look at bitters and you think, well, you know, I went to Europe once and people were drinking bitters, and what are bitters all about? Well, bitters have been used traditionally in many, many cultures, both in Europe and Asia, for use as a tonic to improve digestion when taken before a meal. And now, all of that is traditional use or historical use. And so what we did is we looked at that and said, well, what else is there to note about these bitter flavors, these plant parts that give you that bitter taste? Well, first of all, I want to point out something. That the diet today is nothing like the diet that human beings have consumed for millions of years. And that's because we don't particularly like the bitter taste. And so we have hybridized out of the modern diet all those bitter notes. Many of you might be old enough to remember when broccoli was fairly bitter. Broccoli is not bitter anymore. Why? Because those notes, those compounds have been hybridized out, so broccoli is now not bitter, nor are any of the vegetables that we commonly consume. So are we missing something? That's an interesting question, and the answer is, yeah, we are. And it wasn't just that the hunting and gathering diet was very rich in bitter notes. It's basically meaning that you and I are designed to consume a natural diet that contains these notes. Well, what happens if you don't eat them? This is what I call the gap-filling reason why you should use KM, because it was designed to give you all those notes from all those plants that you're not getting in the highly processed, chemicalized, hybridized modern diet. If you look at the hunting and gathering diet, and I've done that. I've followed hunters and gatherers around the jungles of New Guinea, tasting the things that they were eating on a regular basis. And in about 6 weeks, I didn't taste much of anything that was sweet. Most of the plants that they were consuming had bitter notes. Now, what's really intriguing to me is that this isn't just an effect on your tongue. It's an effect on many areas of your body. I've got a graphic coming up showing you all the areas where there are cells that sense these particular compounds that are in bitters, including the ingredients that are in KM. Now, look at that, and you'll see that it's not just in the tongue. We're talking about what is now being called as transduction cascades, which means that the effect that it has on one area of your body cascades to having effect throughout the body. Now, if there is a sensor for those particular compounds that are in bitters, if there is a sensor, that means that there is a response. I think it's really interesting, which means that if you're not consuming those particular compounds, there's a response that is lacking. And it's not that there's a bitters deficiency that you'll suffer from, but what are those compounds doing? What biochemical activity are they initiating? And would it be wise to include some of these ancient tastes and these ancient compounds in the diet? We think the answer is yes. Not just for the things that people report, which are, though it makes my digestion better, it helps keep me regular. Some people report that it has reduced their craving for sugars. And all of that may be well and good, but we went to look at what else is going on. Now, when you do that, you find out that there's something really interesting. And I'm going to try to explain this by reading a quote from Biology Reports, which is volume 3, number 20 in 2011. This gets a little technical, so I'm going to do the translation for you. They're talking about one of the chemicals that are stimulated by the bitters that they've been studying. And they've been identified CCK, cholecystokinin, which is basically a biochemical message that tells you that you're either hungry or full. So it stimulates CCK. At the same time, these bitters have been shown, and again, this was reported in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in January 18th of 2011, showing that bitters stimulate not only CCK, but gastrin and pepsin. So those are compounds that are enzymes that are involved in the digestion process. So when someone says that bitters improve my digestion, at least now we have a scientific explanation for how that may be occurring. The quote that I want to read you from Biology Reports opens up another view of what bitters are doing in human physiology, because the report in Biology Reports looks at these bitter compounds, and not only is it stimulating CCK, but they are talking about how this is involved in a signaling system that, listen to this, reduces the transfer of toxic substances from the gut into circulation. This is supported by a study showing that CCK, released in response to bitter-tasting compounds, then acts on CCK2 receptors on nearby enterocytes. These are cells in the intestinal tract, right? Which pumps toxins or unwanted substances out of the cytoplasm. In this way, activation of the TR2 signaling network indirectly increases elimination of absorbed toxins from the gut before toxins can enter circulation. End quote. Again, Biology Reports, Volume 3, number 20 in 2011. Oh, that was too, I'm told that was too technical. Let me translate that into English. When you drink bitters, the compounds that may have been in the food you are eating, which should never go into your bloodstream, the bitters actually help your body to keep those toxins from going from the gut into the bloodstream. That is another aspect of detox, which I consider to be very, very intriguing. Now, this wasn't a study done on KM. This was a study done on bitters. But bitters have an intriguing similarity, whether they come from bark, roots, or other parts of the plant. And the combination of ingredients in KM was designed to give you a wide spectrum of bitters, again, from a large number of compounds all together in a tonic that you can consume on a daily basis, either 1 or 2 tablespoons a day. Oh, what now? Oh, right. There are new sales tools coming for KM soon. Watch for them on univera.com. To your health, drink KM.